I'm Eugene Fitzgerald. I'm a professor in Material Science and Engineering Department here at MIT. And I'm also in charge of the Smart LEAS program, which is the Low Energy Electronic Systems program in our lab in Singapore. The SMART program stands for Singapore-MIT Alliance for Research and Technology. And it is MIT's first major research facility outside of Cambridge, Massachusetts in the United States. And it came about after a 10 to 12-year relationship with Singapore and MIT that started with the Singapore-MIT Alliance. I was part of that program from 1998, and the program was meant to have us initially work with professors in Singapore to do teaching and research together, using mostly our existing infrastructure. After 10 years, the Singapore government has suggested that we have a closer relationship, and the idea for SMART came up. So the SMART model is unusual in that the programs, these 5 research programs within the SMART umbrella, are much larger than any kind of research funding that you could put together in the United States in general. And that means for an MIT faculty that the opportunity allows you to put a certain number of faculty together that have expertise in different areas, and then you can truly work on an integrated project together. That is something that we simulate typically here, where we'll have larger programs, but then we end up dividing the program into all the subdisciplines. And what I've done with my program in Smart LEAS, the Low Energy Electronic Systems Center, is that we put people together from material science through people that work on devices, through people that work on processing devices, and also all the way up to circuit designers. The reason we did that is with that size funding, we can now innovate in new ways because all of the researchers can affect each other, and the progress is iterative. So a designer might say, I wish I could build this kind of circuit, which then motivates materials and device people to build certain kinds of prototypes in the material and device world, but then they might induce new ideas in the circuit designer. And this whole concept is to converge on new white space that regular industry would not find themselves converging on. The way SMART sources the ideas for the program is that actually it's a competitive process at MIT. And so even though there are some areas within the Singapore ecosystem that are stressed, basically faculty got together at MIT and crafted proposals in different areas. And that is, of course, if you want to maximize innovation, a very good process, because you usually can't tell top down what the new areas are going to be, or what areas that particular funding model can really accelerate that you can't do within the US system. We ended up with one program on infectious disease, one program on biosim, one program on SenSamp, which is an environmentally oriented program on devices and process. And then there's future mobility, which is meant to look at how urban transportation and living will change in the future. And then there's our program, which is a low energy electronic system, which is meant to find a new path for innovation in the integrated circuit and semiconductor world. And you can see that all 5 of these centers are in very different topics, and you wouldn't have necessarily picked them out of MIT in a top-down process.